So my name is Charles Nichols. I'm founder and CEO of SeeWhy Software. We're a real-time analytics company, originally formed in the UK, and increasingly we've been opening up the US market. A friend of mine who's the CEO of another software company based in Boston and said, "Help me, this is kind of what I need to do. Who would you recommend?" And she gave me a short list of people that she'd worked with. And actually, you were top of the list. And she said that, you know, if she was going through that kind of scenario, then you would be the first people that she'd work with. I've worked with quite a few kind of different kind of outsourced kind of operations in the past that sort of help you do one kind of business development or another. And I think the thing which was different from a Praxes point of view was really the quality of the team. The individuals are much more mature, experienced, able to counsel strategy as opposed to just execute a strategy. And that advice is really the thing I think that makes the company stand out from everybody else. In our case, we were looking for help in entering the US market from afar and help speed that process and make that go much faster and to accelerate our whole go-to-market strategy. But rather than just providing warm bodies on the end of a phone or something of that nature, you actually provided real tangible help which would critique the strategy and help us shape it and ultimately make it work. Yeah. It was very obvious to us that the US is the most important market for us, and I don't see any change in that going forward. But from a company 3,500 miles away to sort of take your first tentative steps is clearly challenging. So what I was looking for was an outsourced team on the ground who could basically accelerate our traction. If I were to go out and start hiring, and start building a sales team from scratch and all those kind of things, that would have a certain lead time. This way I could just do it much faster. And really the thing I think which worked incredibly well was it didn't really feel like you were a supplier in that way. It was much more of a partnership kind of approach, which I think is very, very unique and very fresh and very different from previous kind of relationships I've had with other companies in other markets. Well, I think the way to do that is to do that in a collaborative way. You have to work very closely with people and therefore make sure that people are on calls, even if necessary, physically attending meetings as a way of getting that ramp time down, so that something which is reasonably complex can sort of, I can sort of transfer the knowledge over here into somebody else's brain. The other way really I think is around trying to simplify what a new proposition is, and undoubtedly helped us to distill some of that key things in so that we could crispen up our message and make it appropriate for an entry into the US market for the first time. If I was to do this again, actually I would have made that phone call to my CEO friend earlier. I think we could have probably started 6 months earlier and just done it faster. But hey, you can't set the clock back, and hindsight's a wonderful thing. But ultimately it worked out really well. I was nervous, I only knew you through a referral, but in fact it was a really pleasurable process end to end.